you guys for waiting through the awkwardness of staring at us. We had to wait until 7 p.m. So I call the April 8th, 2025 Colonial School Board meeting to order. Please rise as Mr. Stephen Johnson, Colonial Supervisor of Facilities, leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
I have none.
None? All right, do I hear a motion?
Move we accept the agenda as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. And are there any questions or motions moved by Mr. Laws, second by Mr. Handy? Are there any questions or comments from the board? All right, with no questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify with saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right. Now is the time in the board meeting for our celebration of the E in the power of we. I'm going to turn over the mic to Colonial's Public Information Officer, Ms. Lauren Wilson. Ms. Wilson, the floor is yours.
Good evening to everyone here from Colonial Nation. This evening we are proudly highlighting a student in Colonial's early education program, better known as SEEP. While Principal Katrina Daniels and Assistant Principal Ursula McCoy can tell us everything we need to know about their wonderful school, they both will tell you that it's their students, their families, and the staff that make SEEP so exceptional. Joining us this evening is 5-year-old Vision Hicks. Vision uses her singing voice to express her wants and needs. She has been at SEEP for 3 years, and she shares her smiles, her giggles, and her sheer happiness with everyone. Vision's grandmother, Tanya Scott, is an active member in her granddaughter's IEP team. She supports SEEP by generously donating clothes, toys, diapers, and more. But most of all, she exemplifies how families can lend to the success of a student's academic, social, and emotional growth. To Vision and her mom, we say thank you for being a part of the E in We.
Going to bring the room to Vision.
You say thank you? Are you gonna say thank you? Thanks for having us.
Well, all of us know how challenging winter was. And even though the calendar says spring, it seems like old man winter is still holding us hostage. While we don't have to worry about snow, we sure did not too long ago. We would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our essential personnel, many of whom are here tonight. You came to work while many of us were still sleeping, often in very cold temperatures, to make sure our schools and buildings were safe, clean, and ready to use after inclement weather. From plowing and shoveling our parking lots and walkways to salting icy surfaces, each and every one of you play a crucial role in ensuring that all of our Colonial facilities are safe for everyone following severe weather events. Your hard work and attention to detail are critical in reopening our learning environments as soon as possible for students and staff. We are grateful to your commitment, and tonight we want to publicly thank you for all that you do. We have certificates for you. We'd like everyone to come to the front. The certificates are in alphabetical order from the far end on down. So please come forward. We're going to do a group photo.
Come on up, guys. Come on up and ask around.
I have Franny Davis, Jimmy Evans,
I got the M,
Eric,
and a bottom.
Stay up here. Stay up here.
Tony McVeigh.
thank you very much.
Tony McVeigh. Patrick Milligan.
Pat's coming down now.
Mike Montgomery.
Guys, got to stay for a picture now.
William Greer.
Tony McVeigh.
Eric is right here.
Mike Montgomery.
Will's here? It's still covering the driveway. Trying to. Will. All right, board members, can you guys get it? Gabe's gonna stand up as high as he can on that stool. Try to get us all in the picture. Oh, Davy Jones. They got a 12-footer there. Or Jim Chan. We'll get you a 12-foot.
He said he ain't coming.
Thank you, guys. I'm hoping it warms up tomorrow. Thank you. And we're gonna pause now. Take some photos if you'd like. We really appreciate it. I don't have Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, a lot of shifting.
Well, so this was 27 out of something. Yeah. They were Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
The atmosphere. in the-
Jeff, did she remember her balloons? Okay, all right. Thanks, Gary.
Doesn't. That's I thought. I didn't know if there was being a picture taken over there. All right, now's the time where I realize who actually likes to hang out and watch us and all that. So, as my self-esteem is lowered, now is the time in the board meeting for board members and the executive secretary to discuss items of information and topics from our participation in various professional organizations. Specific updates and documents are listed in the agenda. Are there any concerns, questions, or points of interest board members would like to discuss? With that, I guess we can start with DSBA updates. So we want to start with Ron from the executive committee.
We meet next month.
All right, next May is next meeting. And then legislative, I see the same thing for Robin.
We meet April 23rd.
Cool. All right, and for the Chief School Officers Association with Jeff?
Yeah, as you can see, we had our meeting last month, April 1st at Odessa High. We spent a considerable amount of time with the new Secretary of Education for the state of Delaware. Her laying out a path for her vision and purpose for the department as under her leadership. Some of the other items we discussed were listed in the agenda, but one that's not necessarily directly listed is a thought. We did talk for a fair amount of time around where the state was and where we were in public education with some of the information coming out of the federal government, specifically with the March 20th executive order to directing Secretary McMahon to dismantle the Department of Education. Just for the board's information, in terms of the Department of Education, the week after the executive order, I received the only directive that I received, or any communication I received from the Federal Department of Ed, was related to FERPA, which usually annually there's a review of our FERPA practices and our commitment to FERPA. This was from Secretary McMahon instructing us on staying committed to what's stated in the FERPA practices and policies and regulation with her perspective on it.
You may want to give what the
You
acronym
would
FERPA is.
say that. I have to look it up. I don't want to get it wrong. There's bazillions federal. I had it written down.
Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act.
Thank you. Family Education Rights and Privacy Act. So that's the first email, and that's the only communication that I received directly. The remainder of the conversations that we've had are around items in reference to communications to chief state school officers, such as the Secretary of Ed here in Delaware. There was a notice to them regarding Title I and the expectation that it be utilized in the manner that it was prescribed, specifically with respect to flexibility of parent choice and utilizing Title I funds for non-public use. And that's something we have a person who does that for the district. They're reviewing the language in this email. It didn't come to us directly. This was sent to the state's chief school officer, so we're assuming much of that will come from the Delaware Department of Education, any information that we need to have. The second was also received indirectly by myself and Ms. Falcon. On the 28th, we received a request from a reporter for us to comment on the federal government's decision to freeze all late liquidation funds from ESSER 3. We didn't have a comment because we didn't, quite frankly, really know what what we were commenting on, other than what the reporter had given us in the email, which included a memo that went to the chiefs of school offices in the state and a website that publicized this decision. Since that time, we have received communication from the Delaware Department of Education asking us to submit, I'm going to say, between 9 to 10 items of information related to funds that we still have in late liquidation, previously approved. These have all been approved purchases and or encumbrances for use of the ESSER 3 money. We have submitted what they are, why they're important, why we are where we are, and answered a series of questions explaining what will happen if that money doesn't come to the district. We are roughly, it's about $2.2 million that are still in late liquidation that have been frozen, and we are now just waiting, once we submit that to the Department of Ed, to see where it goes. There was an appeal process outlined in this missive about what to do, and so we are just kind of waiting for right now. I don't know, Emily, if you've received any communication since. Again, we didn't receive the initial memo directly, it's all kind of secondhand coming to us from other sources. Since that was leading up to the Chiefs meeting on the 1st, since the 1st, there was, I received some communication from educators within the state related to, let me see here, K-12 funding as it relates to Title VI compliance, and that was not received directly by us. I don't even know, I assume it went to the state school officers again, but it basically is reminding us of the districts, the expectations of districts to comply with Title VI, which is a discrimination clause in the regulations related to a court case, Students versus Harvard, as a condition, and they're using this to as a condition of receiving federal student assistance. So it's really related to higher education and college admissions, because obviously it's Harvard, but the federal government took that ruling and kind of added a slew of other things that are catch-alls, so to speak, in public education, that are things that are not compliant in their minds with the existing Title VI. We have had our legal counsel review that, even though it wasn't sent directly to us, and he informed us that this essentially doesn't apply to the actions that we're taking as a public school. In our circuit, Title VI has been upheld and is the rule. We follow Title VI, so there's no concern on his part that we are not going to meet the requirements of what they're expecting. But there will be probably, or potentially, a compliance document that each district will be expected to sign off on that goes to the state government, State Department of Ed, which and then will turn it over to the federal department to show that we're all following Title VI. I've not received anything from the Delaware Department of Education, so I can't comment on where that is, and much of this literally is not coming directly to us. This is us just hearing it and seeing it and picking it up. Most notably, the one that I just referenced about Title VI, if you're following the news, it's in New York State. They have said that they are not going to comply with that. They are not going to, they're fighting it. I have to say, our lawyer says there's nothing to fight. We already don't do it anyway. So like there's no repercussions for us at this point, based on the lawyer's review of the website and the compliance form that's allegedly going to be making its way to us. So it is since the 20th of March, it's been a little bit of a swirl of activity from the federal government and coming from different directions. And again, I've only received one direct communication. That we usually get a weekly communication from someone at the Department of Ed, and that was the last one I received on the 28th related to FERPA. I'll take any questions from the board if they have it.
I have a few. Thank you. And I'll work backwards here. Okay, so with Title VI, I think the phrase, the Student versus Harvard case was the affirmative action case.
Correct.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say K-12 funding, we don't get Title VI funding. When you referenced K-12 funding, you're talking about the whole ball of wax, right?
So for Title VI, it's specifically related to federal financial assistance for students.
Oh, federal financial assistance, okay.
Then
Which we
Title
don't
I, we do receive Title I funding,
Right.
but we don't have any information about Title I funding.
Right. And when you mentioned Title I earlier, this memo, trying to remember exactly what my
It's
question
about
was.
flexibility.
Yeah, but it wasn't there was no new information
No.
in that, correct? It was
It was all, nothing was
a
changed.
reminder.
A reminder and how it should be viewed. And both the FERPA and the Title I were heavy on identifying that parents have rights that they are implying have been impinged on by previous administration. But the actual titles themselves, one for whatever you want, number you want to pull, have not been changed.
Have you received any communications regarding Title II
Not yet,
or III?
not yet.
Okay. And then my last question is, and maybe Emily is a better one to answer this, are we waiting on any federal funds that we should have received by now? In other words, in a typical year, is the federal government late in providing funding to this district?
Push it up there.
Speak loud.
This is now on. The normal entitlement grants that we receive annually, all of those funds have been loaded for us to be able to spend. The way that the federal grants work for Delaware is that they flow through the Department of Education, and so the department has it's called the parent grant, and they basically draw funds down as districts spend them. If the department has received any issues drawing payments to reimburse the state, we've not been made aware of that. But all of the funding that we expected for '25 in our entitlement grants have been received. We do have one competitive grant that actually is not it doesn't flow through the Delaware Department of Ed, and it's not issued by US Ed, it's actually from the Division of Substance Abuse and Mental Health. That is a direct grant that we've received, and it's a continuation. Basically, we have to apply every year for continuation funding. That application was submitted, I believe it was early February. We still have not received information about whether or not that continuation application has been approved.
Is that typical?
This is only the third year of the grant, so it's hard to say. It's, I think, a little bit later than normal, but not completely out of what's expected, I would think.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then I do have one last question. And in terms of all of the pass-through funding, does that include child nutrition?
So child nutrition is also a pass-through that USDA actually sends to the Department of Ed, and then they issue the payments to us. And again, we've not received any information that the payment process for that grant has been interrupted at all.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the last thing I'll just share, and this is not necessarily one of the topics that was discussed with the chiefs, but from a anecdotal level here in the Colonial community, there has been a recent uptick in letters related to immigration and deportation expectations from immigration, ICE, Homeland Security, you name it. There are some letters out there that families have received where they've been given 30 days to leave, or actually they're soon. And so we have been dealing with some families in that space. Our best, the best resource we have, we've been given information for an ACLU contact who are, experts in the immigration space to help guide families who wish to kind of explore the option beyond leaving, as the letters are stated. So we have seen an uptick in that in the last 2 weeks, both in the elementary level and at the high school level. I'm not aware of any exclusively in the middle school, but the elementary and the high school, I have heard stories of families, and we are providing them with the best resources we can to help them navigate those difficult times.
What types of resources are we providing?
Well, it's direct contact to the ACLU, someone who it's not just a website or a number, it's someone who we've been told and they know we can have our families call them for support. So it's not a voicemail or a phone bank or wait for a call back. That is the.
They're getting a live person.
Yeah, they're getting a live person. And that came from John Cooper, Director of Health and Wellness, when he came across a letter that a student shared beginning of last week. He started calling around and spoke with Margie Lopez Wade at Aspira Academy and a couple other folks in the Latin American Community Center region, and they gave this person's contact. He called, vetted it, and is like, this is where someone who we are using as a resource for our families.
Jeff, you may not be able to answer this, but I mean, are these revoked visas?
They're-
Are they revoked refugee
They're-
status? Do you
they're-
have that detail?
The two letters that I'm aware of are both vastly different situations. Some were existing court cases that have been in the system for years, and others are related to their status. And there's a variety of different things. There's no one way to describe it from and I'm only talking about the two that I've actually seen physically. There's others where kids have just said it verbally and you accept it at face value, and then you try to refer them. So there's no real pattern other than there's an uptick in communications going out to families.
Thank you.
That's it for my update for associations.
All right.
I can add, if the board would like, I can put together the variety of links that I've referenced so you can access them yourselves, so you don't have to go hunt for them. I can send them to you all. You know, it just take me a little while to go back, collect all the emails, put everything in some semblance of order so you can kind of see it. Just give me a couple days.
Great.
The links for the information you've received so far.
Yeah, the links, so you can kind of see what it is I'm talking about, and the kind of scope of what they're,
What you've been communicated to.
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, next portion of the meeting is public comment. As indicated on the public comment sheet that you have received, when your name is called, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. You're expected to remain in the designated area for speaking with the board, and failure to do so will result in your forfeiting your allotted time. Please note that the board members are not obligated to respond to you within your 3-minute time slot. Administrative staff may be identified and asked to provide follow-up on specific questions or personal issues regarding your child or children after the meeting. So I have one public comment, Miss Alyssa Wesley.
I'll start her on my watch.
We haven't used this thing in months.
Yeah.
Just want to see if it was even
The
still
battery
alive.
might be dead.
Good evening, school board. Tonight, I believe it's important to take a moment to recognize the incredible cast, crew, and directors of the William Penn High School's production of Legally Blonde. I witnessed opening night, and it was a delight, especially knowing it marked the first show in several years. The enthusiastic community support was heartwarming and a testament to the importance of backing our colonial students and the arts. A sustained community engagement is crucial to ensuring future opportunities for these talented students to shine, not only showcasing their abilities, but also fostering community. Having experienced the stage myself as a dancer, singer, actor, and choreographer, I could truly appreciate the immense effort poured into this production. Legally Blonde is a demanding show packed with complex songs featuring in challenging key changes and tones, demanding unwavering energy throughout, and the students showed that they could pull it off. After the show, I learned that the students navigated significant behind-the-scenes challenges that could have jeopardized the performance, which made this achievement even more remarkable. The students' handling of opening night jitters and unexpected onstage moments was truly commendable. Situations that could stump seasoned professionals were met with grace and poise, demonstrating their ability to improvise and maintain character seamlessly. Their resilience and adaptability shone brightly. Ultimately, the students delivered a fantastic comeback performance, pulling out all the stops to make the show a success. I sincerely hope that with increased time, attention, and community sponsorship, this group will be empowered to achieve even greater heights. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to everyone who contributed to making this memorable show a reality. It makes me excited for all the shows to come and for what could be for my kids. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And the cast of Legally Blonde was incredible. They did a really good job.
You have about a minute.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So my question to the school board is, as a parent that has a child that is going into middle school in about a year, I am finding that I'm not finding enough information about the different middle schools. There are several middle schools within inside our district, and I would like to know what each of them can provide my student. I would like to know what's individually what each school would uniquely give to my kid. I know that there's been discussions in the past that maybe that they were separated by discipline, or they were done for a certain reason for a specific type of student. So I would like to ask the school board to maybe come up with something for parents like myself who don't know Colonial very well, because I'm a transplant, and what they could do to provide me and my family assurance of where I am placing my student. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll follow up with that. Thanks. I'll follow, I have your question, someone will reach out to you for some conversation.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. Oh, we do have some. Okay. Oh, Anita Bruce? Hi, Miss Bruce. Is it Bruce, right? Yeah. Okay. Come on up.
We'll turn it on for you. Dave.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Anita Bruce. I am a transplant, like she said she was. I'm a member of First Baptist Church over here, and I'm also the founder of Omni Youth Circle of Newcastle. Omni Youth Circle of Newcastle is a youth enrichment program, and I know this is not a part of the school board, but I'm trying to see if I can get some type of assistance, because this is really going to be helping the kids in this district. The program is going to start September 18th of this year, and it's going to start at First Baptist Church, and it's only going to be a one-day. My pastor is only testing it out to see how it's going to work, and if people are going to like it or they're not going to like it or whatever have you. But it's a youth enrichment program. We offer different programs: life skills, art, job application assist, computer access, tutoring, college application assist, small library, and games. We do special events, and we do volunteer opportunities. So we're doing a lot of the things for the kids. I looked over, I have a friend that's a part of something called Newcastle Citizens for Delaware Schools. And she comes to the board meeting sometimes, and she gave me information to the board meeting, and she also gave me information to a report card that that the board has. And I looked at this report card and I said, no, this has got to make it. This has got to make it into the schools. And so I had actually met with a lady that I came before, and I met with a lady that was back there, and she gave me information to Ms. Hitchens. And Ms. Hitchens gave me an appointment to talk to her, but unfortunately, I had applied for a grant with AmeriCorps and DSS. And because I applied for this grant with AmeriCorps and DSS, they did not want us talking, us meaning my board members, they did not want us affiliating with anybody of the state. So I had to cancel the meeting, okay? Now I've been emailing Ms. Hitchens, I haven't gotten back with her, and she hasn't really gotten back with me or anything, so I said, well, let me come back to the meeting and see who I could talk to get back in touch with her. Because this is a mess. That report card that I saw was not pretty, that I saw, okay? So I already know that this area is in need of help, and I'm just assistance. I'm just here to help you, okay? I do have a bachelor's degree. I am taking a master's right now, so I'm here to help. I'm not going to school, I'm online school. So I'm here to help, okay? I'm a Wilmington University graduate, okay? That's all I have for you. I'll give you a pamphlet.
We'd love to have one, Ms. Bruce.
Okay,
We can have the administration connect you with someone you'd be able to communicate with to get you some answers for that and how to possibly share the information.
okay, thank you.
Give me the flyer. Dr. Jones can take the flyer right there. Actually, because she's probably going to want to follow up with it. See how that works?
Also, I wanted support on, Omni Youth Circle is also having a 2K walk for the youth, on October 11th. That's on a Saturday from 2 to 5,
Yeah.
at Glasgow Park.
Ms. Bruce, if you just leave that with Dr. Jones right there.
Okay, I
appreciate
agree.
it. Yep, and someone will be in
So-
touch.
Sorry, just trying to abide by the 3-minute time rule.
You're-
All right, I'm out, I'm
All
out.
right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, the next agenda item is the consent agenda. The items listed under consent agenda have gone through the board review, including documentation concerning these items that have been provided to all board members and the public in advance. Items in the consent agenda generally include routine personnel and business office actions and updates, as well as approval of previous meeting minutes and education-related items such as choice and student placements. With that being said, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve all consent agenda items as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, as moved by Ms. Smith and then seconded by Dr. Dorsey. Are there any questions or comments from the board? All right, all those in favor, please signify with saying aye.
Aye.
All those in get opposed, nay. Motion carries. And then next up on the agenda is the updates and action items as heard by Dr. Menzer.
So, first up, I'm gonna direct your attention, starting with, Dr. Lancourt is gonna be doing a leadership and learning presentation for us on mathematics. We're gonna be looking up at the TVs here, there's gonna be some slides up, so we're gonna kind of follow Dr. Lancourt's lead as she walks us through some exciting information about the math programming here in Colonial.
I know you love it when I come and you get to do math.
They all were wondering if the Math 24 was coming. We know it's at the end of the month.
It is.
No ringers coming in here and trying to
No,
upset
not
the
like
board.
last year where we had a few kids.
We almost had a little bit of a problem here last year.
There was almost a little debacle.
There was a little bit of a confrontation.
Okay, so yeah, if you could just, some of the slides and data and information is going to be up on the screen, and I have a few little videos for you later. So thank you for having me. I always like to start with our core values and our rights as learners. So in math, our core values are to be the spark, own your brilliance, and be bold and brave. And I always try to center our presentations around those three big ideas. And our rights as learners, you have the right to be confused, to make mistakes, to revise your thinking, all that good stuff as we do some math tonight. Okay, so our first section is going to be around being bold and brave. I'm going to share a little bit of data. And sometimes when you share data, it can be scary, right? It can be scary to put yourself out there. But we actually have some pretty exciting news and exciting data to share today. So, in our elementary world, K through 5, last year we did a curriculum review to see what kind of materials were out there to support our students, some high quality instructional materials. We landed on Amplify Desmos Math as a pilot. And we had, so all 8 elementary schools have participated in this pilot, 21 out of 48 PLCs, so a little less than half. And we had teachers, paras, coaches, math interventionists, myself, etc., principals all participate and join in this math pilot. And they made the decision back in the late fall, early winter, to move forward and implement Amplify Desmos Math next year. So I want to share some data from our pilot because it's pretty exciting. And I also want to bring back, last time in December we talked about our math superpowers. Are y'all been using your math superpowers? I see some nods, yeah, Jeff's got some. So my math superpower this month is a dynamic data digger. So I'm going to share just a few highlights from schools who have participated in our pilot. And I know you have the data in front of you, and I don't want to read each and every single one. But taking a look here at our kindergarten and first grade, one example, Eisenberg, and this one really crucial standard around understanding tens, up 26 from the end of year last year. So middle of year-ish this year, they're already surpassing expectations from the end of year last year. Same in grade 1, you can see some of our key standards. These are standards I track on a regular basis. According to our strategic plan, I track the same standards beginning, middle, and end of year. And so this data was pretty exciting. Same in the bottom one there, grade 1, all 3 pilot schools were up an average of over 17% from last year. I think the next one is grade 2. Same thing here. Several schools, Newcastle up 10% from end of year last year. 2 schools had a really good increase from last year in fluency within 20, 16% and 9%. And Carey Downey showed some nice growth in understanding addition and subtraction from last year. Same in 4th grade. I can just keep repeating the same things. We're seeing some really great growth. Over the end of year last year, the middle of year, I'm so excited about it. I can't even talk. Newcastle, that very last bullet there, Newcastle is up over 31% overall from the end of year last year, middle of year this year. So some of this data coming out of this pilot has been really good. One more here, grade 5, again, all 3 pilot schools doing really well. You might have noticed that I skipped grade 3, because that's where I want to focus tonight's talk on. So if you look at grade 3, we have, I can't remember how many schools. We have a couple of schools piloting grade 3. I want to say 3, can't remember exactly. I think it's 3 schools piloting grade 3, but every single one of our schools has increased over last year because they're using a part of the program. We have this great fluency piece I'm going to share in just a minute. But if you take a look, we have all 4 pilot schools, I said 3, 4 pilot schools, up an average of 16% last year, with 2 schools greater than 20% increase over last year. So really exciting news. But we want to get to the fun part. I want to get to the math. So this is our part 2 of our core values, own your brilliance. So we're going to do a little bit of math today, a little bit of turn and talk. So if you could pull up the first tab for us, Joe. Thank you. Those standards in 3rd grade were all about multiplication that we were tracking. And so I'm going to show you this 3rd grade lesson, and so, sorry, I might have to come back here to play with it if that's okay. I don't know if you need to see me, if you can just hear me on the screen here. But this is the first unit that kids do in 3rd grade in Amplify Desmos Math, and it's called Array of Flavors. So I'm going to pull this up. Will it come up? Your clicker's different than mine. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to take you very briefly through a lesson that kids do. So first we start off by choosing some flavors of frozen yogurt. We're super excited to go to the yogurt store. Everything's based in a really fun context, and we ask kids what they notice and wonder. And we might just have kids shout out what kind of flavors they like. So as I click here, I would like all these flavors. Anybody like strawberry? I don't know what blue. What flavor is blue ice cream? Blueberry, maybe? I'm thinking there's some mint chocolate chip. This is kind of neat. We got all kind. We can do another mint chocolate chip. We got all this ice cream filling up. Very interesting. But I'm just going to keep clicking. What do you notice? What happens? Well, something crazy happens. We're making a mess. So we have a little conversation with kids about what happens. What do we notice about the shapes of those cups of yogurt, and what happens if we go too far? Same thing here. We have this little array here of 8 cups, and we just have to pick and try out some of these. Anybody want to pick one? We can test this out and see what happens.
Yeah, upper right.
Upper right, this one? Let's test that guy out. We click that one and see what happens. Ooh, what did you notice?
Filled all the cups.
Yeah, they all kind of fit in there. Great. How about this one?
Yeah.
Ooh, what happened?
We didn't have enough.
We didn't have enough. We're not enough. And you kind of look at the shapes here. What do you notice? You're gonna see this one. Let's try this one over here. Ooh, that one. Too much. We made a mess. Right, so the kids kind of play, you have conversation, they notice and wonder, and they're all doing this on there. This is called a digital lesson from Amplify, and kids are playing in partners and having discussions about what they notice. The next thing we do is kind of take it a little step further. We now have kids create their own sets of cups so they can click. So here's what you're trying to make here. You have 12 different scoops of yogurt, and you can start playing here with different things and test it out and check and see if it works. So let's see, we can test one out and just see. Oh, not enough, right? So you just keep playing. The kids keep playing, exploring, making their claims, thinking about ideas. Bigger number, 15, same kind of concept. And then we use really big words with kids, like conjecture. We talk about what it means to make a conjecture. So say what your ideas are. All this playing you just did, what's a conjecture? What's an idea, a claim you can make that we can then prove or disprove based on what we learned? Again, you just keep on going. So now they have, oh, wait, I don't know if we can see it in there. Is it the nighttime thing? We can't see it in there. Anyway, so these have expressions on here. So select 2 expressions that have the same product, and you test it. You're gonna keep thinking about that claim that you made, your ideas that you're developing, and testing it out. Again, continuing. So now we chose some of those that were matching that were on the last slide that we couldn't see, but they're here now. And you gotta explain, how do you know that these things are true? So kids now are learning that forwards and backwards, that commutative property, right? It doesn't matter if I do 5 times 3 or 3 times 5, I'm gonna get the same amount. Those discussions keep happening. We also do a little bit of an error analysis. So we have Jada and Diego. They say they share different strategies and how they might determine the product. And they have to say if they agree or disagree and why. And then there's a nice little video here at the end. It kind of is like a nice little lesson synthesis. We'd have a discussion about what we see when we watch this cute little clip that helps us see why 5 times 8 and 8 times 5 are the same thing. And then we end with a quick little show what you know, so kids have to do some of their own explaining independently. And last, one of my favorite parts is that the kids get to represent their own feelings about how they're thinking about multiplication. So it gets all the way through the student self-reflection, which is sometimes the hardest part to get to when you're looking at the math class. Any thoughts or reflections about that lesson and how it kind of builds up students' thinking? Right?
Crystal, did you say this was 3rd grade?
This is 3rd grade, Unit 1, Lesson 9. So they've done a little bit of playing leading up to this. This is Lesson 9 in 3rd grade. They start the year right off with some multiplication.
So when they complete a session, does that then go to the teacher so that they can
Yeah.
understand that feeling and
Yeah.
then see where they weren't?
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool things that are happening in the background. So as the students are working and typing and thinking about the reflection, if I had the time, I could show you what it looks like on the teacher side, but the teachers are seeing what they're doing live, real time. They can see everything that they're doing. Another thing that they can do is as the kids are working on those different screens I had earlier, they can pull up, they call them snapshots, and they'll take a picture of some students' work, and you can put it side by side and talk about how this person wrote it versus this person wrote it. What are similarities? What are their differences? Kind of leading up to that main learning goal. They're probably leading up to that understanding of multiplication and arrays, and it has to evenly fall on the cups, and you can do 3 times 5 and 5 times 3, the commutative property, all those kinds of things. So it's really neat how you can have really cool conversations based on the work. And the digital lessons are about a couple of units, so they're not always on, digital. But they do it when it's most important for kids to play and experiment and have some fun with it. Yeah. And then the next thing I want to show, I just want to go back. I want to go back to the slides here. Oh, where's the other slides? All right. There we go. I just want to go back to the slides for a moment. You click to the next one. So there was our lesson. So the follow-up piece to this, which I love, is a little bit about fluency. And so I know we all may have many different definitions of what fluency means, but for us, it's not about rote memorization of facts, because oftentimes, I don't know if you ever remember people like they hated math, or the facts were too hard, or it caused math anxiety. We want kids to commit it to memory, but we don't necessarily want it to be rote memorization. Because when you commit something to memory, it means you have connections, relationships, you see flexibility. So there's lots of other pieces to fluency that sometimes we overlook This program here offers a fluency component that does that for us digitally, which many other programs don't have. And so I want to show you a quick video, and then I'll show you what it looks like.
Welcome to Fluency Practice from Amplify. Developed in partnership with Math for Love, this incredible resource helps students practice fact recall and fluency with numbers, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Each flashcard doesn't just contain the question, but also a relevant visualization of the problem. To start, some of the visualizations are interactive, but become static images as students see the facts more often. When students answer a question correctly, there's a fun sound effect, and the card fills with a bright color. If the answer is incorrect, the card shakes, and students get a second attempt. If the answer is incorrect a second time, the correct answer is shown, and students move on to the next card. Once students have completed all of their cards for the day, confetti falls down the page. We use an approach called spaced repetition, which assigns cards into 6 different boxes. New cards always start out in box A. If a student answers a card correctly, the card moves up to the next box. If a student answers it incorrectly on the first or second attempt, it moves back into box A. The goal is to get every card into the memory box. Through independent fluency practice, students will have committed facts to their long-term memory. The other important part of spaced repetition is the time intervals between different boxes. Cards in box A are practiced every day. After a card has been in box B for 2 days, we show it to students again. If they answer correctly, it moves to box C. As you can see, these time intervals keep increasing. We show students a card again just when they might be about to forget it. There is a lot of research that shows this practice improves long-term retention. It will take at least a month for a card to pass through all boxes and reach students' long-term memory. However, if a student makes a mistake when answering a card in any box, including box E, it goes back to box A, and the process starts all over again. While this may seem complicated, all of it is happening automatically behind the scenes. Students and teachers don't need to worry about what box a given card is in, or what cards will be shown on a given day. Fluency Practice automatically selects the most appropriate cards to practice on a given day. We recommend that students spend 5 to 10 minutes practicing every day. Students looking for more practice on a given day can click into practice mode. In this mode, students see a random assortment of 30 cards that they will have already seen at least once, including cards in their memory boxes. Student answers in practice mode do not impact which box a card is in. Students can practice practice mode as many times as they want in a given day. Teachers can easily assign flashcard sets to students and view their progress on their dashboard. The dashboard will only be accessible to those users who have class rosters of students associated with their account. Once in the dashboard, teachers can select a class and then use the various tabs and drop-downs to access a range of settings and student reports.
So I don't know if you noticed all the visuals that were on all the cards to help kids really retain and make connections between the different multiplication facts and thinking about the fluency. And they have it, I have it listed on the side there. They have it for the early learners, for the numbers, for number rec, addition, subtraction, 2 different versions, multiplication, division. I'm hoping that there's more. I'm hoping that there's fractions and other things coming. So what I wanted to show next, and a quick note too, that unit 3, that grade 3 unit 1, focus primarily on kids understanding their 2s, 5s, and 10s facts, which kind of builds on their second grade. In second grade, the standards are that they count by 2s, 5s, and 10s. So this strategically builds, that unit strategically builds on that, and then this fluency practice gives them practice
Welcome
every
to
single
Fluency
day.
Practice from Amplify.
You just have to skip to the
Developed
next
in
slide. It always does
partnership
that on
with Math for
slides.
Love.
What I wanted you to do now is, and Gabe, don't judge me. This is a Crystal made video, not a Gabe made video. So no judgment here. But I have a quick video of some kids talking about Amplify and the fluency practice as well.
Do you like using the multiplication by heart program?
Yes, and it helps me now. I can immediately just know what 5 times 4 is and 7 times 7. Yeah, I practice it every single day, so it helps me memorize what to do. It also helps me that I know I can do it backwards and 7 times 4 and 4 times 7 are equal the same things. So got to 4th grade, I know my multiplication facts, so I can do division. And how it helps me is because like we do like fractions, and sometimes on ST Math Day you have like multiplication problems, and if I do Factility first, then I'm like, okay, I know this multiplication pattern. They have these little flashcards, and then they have the boxes, and they have the boxes for you, so you remember how multiplication actually works. Fluency helps us by remembering all the facts that we need to remember for like tests and stuff. Like it helps us with our math, and for me, it's good for me because I can practice my 7, 8s, and 9s.
Are those the harder ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does it help you remember 7, 8, and 9?
So whenever you do it, it like kind of gets stuck in your brain for like a quick week, and then you forget it. But when you go back on it, you remember. It reminds you of what the numbers are. And then some of the harder ones, like 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm gonna look forward to the division.
Oh, you're looking forward to doing the
They were
division
really
cards?
excited
Oh,
about
you're super
division.
excited about those?
I'm fluent and I know if I move, even if I added 2 of 12. When we do math problems, sometimes I do make mistakes, but I can always. So I like where it like before we do the math, it like tells us like it's the ways. I like fluency because it helps you like level up, and it helps you learn classes and more bigger numbers.
What things?
Our whole class likes divisional lessons.
They do? What do you guys like about them?
So we like because we mostly get to use our computers. And it's like we get to move stuff around on the computer, and it's more funner because then sometimes there's like things that we have to follow to actually.
Like we switch from using the book, and sometimes we do it with digital. And our whole class, we just love when we do digital because then our teacher gets to see how hard we work. And most times we have another one where like we have to stack them up if they have stars in the bottom, and we get to see how many we can do.
So there's so many things that the kids said in there, but it kind of flows right along. Most of it was around the fluency practice, which kind of builds on what they're doing in class. And you can see they like that it helps them do the next concept, be ready for concepts. Some of the first graders, they weren't doing multiplication fluency, but they were doing their addition and subtraction, and they love that all the units start with a story that connects to them and is relatable to them. And they can draw and show all their work on the computer, and they can make mistakes and revise their thinking. That was the most important part for me. And so the next couple of slides, I won't read all these to you either, you have them in your notes, but this last one, we called it Be the Spark because this is around the teacher. So the teacher, we took some quotes from teachers, and so if you want to just click through a few, Joe. There's just a couple, we can just pause for a few seconds on each one, but you have them in your notes as well. But this is what the teachers were thinking when they reflected on the program. They're excited about the activities, they're loving to differentiate. They love that it's holding kids to grade level standards and building them up to it. There's just a whole lot of things that the teachers and the students are loving. And so for you all, if you're interested in learning more, in the link to the slides that you have, there are caregiver hubs, so anybody in the community, any family can join and just take a look, and you can see the different units. It tells the parents a little bit about the math. It'll give them the story, give them some practice problems. It'll tell them about the math in the unit so they can feel confident in helping their kiddos at home. And there's currently a Spanish version as well. That's it for me.
Do we have any questions from the board?
Oh, I thought you had a question.
I do have a question, but you said it anyway. So are there any reports that are generated, and how does individual growth for the students, and how are those, if so, how are the reports and data that's gathered, how are they used to plan future lessons? that in the class?
Yeah, so it's so funny that you asked that because the kids in the video, and it's hard, they said so many things that I wanted like to talk about, but I know only have a short amount of time. But yeah, so there's a great, it definitely tracks students' individual growth. So on the digital platform, it'll track their growth by standards. But the teacher in every lesson and in every question and then after every assessment, there are little, their differentiation tools. So they call it support. So you can support students who need more. There's strengthen, so you can strengthen kids who like kind of have it. And then kids who need an extension, there's extension activities. And that's the one young gentleman was mentioning. He loved the extension because they get to earn stars when they do extensions. And those supports are provided for in the moment while you're working on the task, after the lesson, and after assessments. And there's also mini lessons, so if there's intervention, kids need something a little bit more direct, because this is a lot of inquiry-based and play. To get at the concept, there's more direct things that can happen to follow up if kids need that support as well. And there's so many other things, like I could go on forever, there's so many things to share. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions, Mr. Walls?
I do.
Good.
Okay, so this is the first year for these materials or the second year?
We kind of call this year 0, because we're just trying them out.
Okay.
And so next year will be a year 1, where everybody in K-5 is doing it.
Okay.
Mhm.
And I assume that the practice part, they're doing that on their Chromebooks?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The good thing about Amplify Desmos Math is that you can access it from any device too, so kids can do it anywhere. Yep.
Mr. Handy?
Yeah, look, I like this program. What made you choose this program over some other programs that were out there? What made it special?
So the funny thing is, I wish we had thought to develop this on our own, because a lot of the pieces that are designed as part of this were things that we were already building into our curriculum ourselves. It has creative routines that start each lesson as the warm-up to get kids thinking, kind of like that notice and wonder, that thing that they could play with the yogurt. It has lots of differentiation supports, all the different things teachers can do. They'll also eventually have a year-long, I think some of them are even published already, a year-long math adventure that's kind of fun they can play. There's just lots of options and supports for teachers, students, and families. That was really key for us, as the families. The other thing that really sold us, 2 things, was that we wanted it to connect to our core values. Like, will kids find joy and enjoy doing math in this curriculum? And so far we think they are. And then 2, oh my gosh, I lost the thought that fast. Oh, the stories and context are relevant to kids, right? Because sometimes the materials can get outdated, and they don't always reflect your student population. And so the stories and context that the kids follow throughout the unit really do kind of reflect our students.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but years ago, I remember math teachers telling me that they were de-emphasizing memorization of math facts, and now it looks like you're re-emphasizing memorization of math facts. Is this a change or an improvement, or?
So I would say we're de-emphasizing rote memorization. What we're trying to do is get kids to commit it to memory by making connections and being flexible with the numbers in their brain. So yes, and we've always wanted that. We have just found that the rote memorization and time tests and things like that were negatively impacting. There's a lot of research showing that it negatively impacts kids. Whereas things where it helps them to visualize and picture it, it really does help them commit it to their memory. So it's just like a slight shift in words, a nuance in words, but it's a really good nuance.
Now, another thing I've read too is that there's some criticism of screen time in school, and that we should go back to more emphasis of pencil and paper and actually manipulating the objects. Do you have any opinion about de-emphasizing screen time?
We absolutely need kids to have hands-on materials. I just showed you a digital lesson because it's easy to show up here.
Yeah.
But there's usually, I'd say, at least 1 or 2 per unit where the kids can play and do digital lesson, but everything else is paper, pencil, and where they use the manipulatives and build the things and draw and all that kind of stuff. But especially thinking in terms of 3rd grade, one of the things that we're noticing, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and it even starts as young as 2nd grade where they're doing some of the writing. Because they have to do some of that on our state test, it kind of is a nice natural prep, because I'm not a big test prep person either. But every day that you're working and building to the kids and like explaining their thinking and revising their thinking, because oftentimes they'll go back and revise, like they'll make a conjecture or a claim and then go back and revise their thinking and they'll have to type it out. It's really good practice for them having to explain their thinking on the computer for the testing system we live in.
And what do you think about individual students being more emphasis on mastery rather than just general testing of everybody, like you said, time testing and all that sort of thing?
Our grading system is a mastery-based system, so we really do appreciate that kids can master, and we have lots of supports to help them master it. That's our goal.
Yeah.
And there's, what we like about it, there's so many different pieces to the program that even kids that might be a little behind the grade level, there are supports and strategies to help build them up to the grade level, so we're getting them there.
Yeah, because with math particularly, if you don't master this, you can't hardly move on to that. It just becomes more confusing.
There's lots of ideas around those concepts.
Crystal, what type of training for the teachers did they need? Like, how many hours was dedicated to the training for learning that program and how to actually utilize it to its full potential?
That's a really good question. We actually, our other subjects and counterparts were very kind in being generous and give us a little bit extra PD time to get the teachers trained. So we did the same when CKLA was introduced in elementary. We tried to make sure that ELA got a little bit extra time. So we built in some of the content training. We'll unpack the units, look at the assessments. We have a really nice structure we've developed where we kind of look at all the little mini exit tickets, the show what you knows, and the tests, and kind of see what the learning progression is. And every unit starts with the math in this unit. So you can kind of see, here's the key things they're supposed to learn, here's how they're assessed on it, and then you go back and you do the work and you do the math and you kind of see how the lesson builds, how it tells the math story throughout the unit. So we have district PD days for that, and then we also plan monthly sessions that are optional, but we've had a good turnout. Once a month we have our coaches support our teachers in doing just that. And we go through all the different pieces, like we help them understand how to use the fluency, how to use the centers, how to use all the different components. So our hope is to continue that next year.
Okay. And then also, if you could, after you're done answering our questions, could you give us a very brief, like 30-second synopsis of the STEAM Showcase?
Oh, yes. So STEAM Showcase was amazing. Do you want like a summary of what we did, or? Yeah. So every year we've had our STEAM Showcase. I want to say this is, I can't remember the number. I probably should remember, like the 7th annual maybe STEAM Showcase. It's had some iterations from science to STEM to now STEAM. But basically we invite our students to come and show their own creativity and projects that they work on throughout the year. It can be something that's embedded right in their core, like it could be a kid showcasing the digital lesson you just saw to families, right, to show what they do. It could also be extra projects that they do in addition to their core curriculum. And they just showcase the wonderful things. I can't even remember, there's so many things there this year. They design the coding and the cars and the robots. We look at their skulls out usually and the microscopes, and just all the fun things are usually put out with STEAM Showcase. So it's a really good event. And if I can plug, we have our May 17th, we have our Multicultural Day and Mental Health Fair coming up, so
I was
we're
actually
excited
going to ask
about
you if
that.
you have any other plugs for events coming up. We know we
Yeah,
have
that's
Jamaica
coming up.
Wedding
We're looking
coming
forward
up.
to that event too.
So, May 17th, you
May
said?
17th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Learning it all today, man.
So the next agenda item is, one is an informational item, as part of the quarterly, update on We Improve Our Facilities for the board. And the second part of that, this agenda item is we'd like the board's consideration and action upon our district annual maintenance repair plan, for April 2025. As you'll notice in the board packet here, there is Senate Bill, Substitute 1 for Senate Bill 270, directed the Department of Ed to establish an evaluation and assessment system to determine whether the school facility is in good repair. Annually, we are required to submit to the department by May 1st our inspection findings, but more importantly, we need the board to approve the maintenance repair plan that is in your board, is in board docs for you to read prior to this. Mr. Moffitt's here if you have any questions. So at this time, we would just ask that you kind of consider that for action. Well, this maintenance repair plan is the first action, and then if you want to get to the update, the handout, that's the second.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's my fault, then, that was my cue.
The second item. is-
Sitting here silently and I was
The
supposed
first
to
one
be
is the
talking.
maintenance repair plan.
All right, so starting, in regards to the maintenance repair plan, do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the annual Colonial Maintenance Repair Plan, April 2025, as presented.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, as moved by, Ms. Smith and seconded by, we'll go with Mr. Carlson on that one. Are there any questions or comments? All right, no questions or comments. All those in favor, please signify with saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, motion carries.
Now, Mr. Moffitt's available. As you saw in your packet, the board's been provided with an update regarding to improving our facilities. We have, some highlights that, if Drew, if you want to hit the highlights for the board.
Absolutely. So as we do quarterly now, we improve updates, and our 4 buckets in particular, Educate was one we wanted to focus in on tonight as part of the general consensus agenda was an AIA contract that came across your desk. Just a reminder, back in October, you, as the school board, approved 4 of our architect and engineering firms that we now have, and basically work to negotiate and assign these contracts for the various projects. So Becker Morgan was an AIA state contract that was presented to you, where we're in agreement with Becker Morgan for working on our William Penn Athletic Complex and security enhancements. So those will always be shared with the board. We're currently working on our other 3 2025 planning projects, Eisenberg, which we're working with Jade, Gunning Bedford, all of the improvements there, working with Fern Clandaniel, and then also William Penn, we separated out the roofing project, which we're currently working with RG Architects. We are expecting to firm up AIA contracts with those and probably have them shared with you all next board meeting in May. To get those plannings moving forward. So just wanted to remind the board and also the public about that idea of how the process through RFP, consideration and approval for architect and engineers work, but then also the assignment of these contracts with each project over the next 5 years. Okay. Beyond that, with the monitoring, just really want to celebrate a little bit. In January, we talked about our oversight committee, or excuse me, our review committee for construction. We did talk to the board about having some extra spots, and we actually were successful in filling 2 additional spots. So we do have more parents and community members involved. Actually have a staff member that involved this as well. So we're continuing to meet with that bi-monthly. Our next scheduled meeting is in May, and we are still looking for 1 more staff member. So if there's another Colonial staff member interested out there, we'd love to have you put forth the jot form and join us in that experience. And then let's just last few items, just some information for you. We had our kickoff meeting with Becker Morgan actually last Thursday in the fishbowl, as we call it, there next to us. Had a great meeting of just kind of dumping all the information to look at the William Penn Athletic project, and we're getting into the schematic design phase. So hopefully we'll have some of that information to start sharing with the board as we're moving forward with that. And then lastly, looking into some updates. New Leach School, we are in final construction plans being shared with the state for their approval, and then we'll be bringing back that to the board for the final board approval. One of our last steps before going out to bid. But another exciting update is we are going out for construction management firms, an RFP in the upcoming days. We're actually in final analysis right now with that, working with Data Service Center, and we're hoping in the upcoming days, early next week, that'll be posted. So what we do there is we are working to secure professional services from a construction management provider, and they will help oversee some of our larger projects, in particular the Leach School itself once we get into the building, but also the William Penn Athletic Complex and security enhancements happening here. Both very large projects, a lot of moving parts, working with a lot of different entities throughout the county and the state, and they help to basically making sure those services stay on time and also under budget. So with that, those are our updates for We Improve. I'll open up the floor for any questions.
we get you to ourselves for every other month,
Yeah.
so Ted and I don't have many. Any other board members since aren't on the committee, do you guys have any questions at all for these guys?
I was gonna ask about bleach, but you answered that, so.
How are you feeling? Are we now on a more
We
more
are
positive
feeling pretty good. Well, let's put it this way, I am much better than I would have been the last quarter in January when we presented, moving in a very good direction, and then having the CM services we're going out for, I feel that much more confident. I also can't say enough of the team that we have working within the district on these things, so definitely feel positive, very positive.
How
What
about
was
you?
the holdup on Leach?
Really, honestly, a lot of it was just working through some of your different, basically your permits and things like that, working with the different entities, anything from the Historical Society to DENREC, to DELDOT with traffic impact studies, so a variety of things. Again, just a lot of moving parts, and I'll go back to, I know Dr. Mentzer's mentioned this many times, as much as we'd like to think we've done a new build, nobody in this current leadership has done a new build in Colonial because it's been so long. So there definitely was a little bit of a learning curve, and that's where we think having some of those additional professional services of construction management providers and vendors would be helpful for us.
Well, how about the easement issues with Dot Foods?
So that was one of the last moving parts as well. That was another segment of trying to actually get sewer access. The pump house is actually on Dot Foods, the adjacent corner to where our Leach property is going. So trying to work with their group and have them do review of easements and things like that with their council to sign off on things. So again, all of those reviews just take some time. So that definitely slowed some things up. I don't want to say Dot Foods in particular as I'm saying that, but all of those different entities did cause some delays to what we had originally hoped.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Drew.
Thank you.
Great pledge of allegiance, Bob.
The last update and action item is under Human Resources. We're asking that the board approve our intent to terminate employee number 25-103 as discussed in executive session.
I'll make a motion that we approve the intent to terminate employee 25-103 as recommended by the administration.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. As moved by Mr. Laws, seconded by Dr. Dorsey. Are there any questions or comments from the board? All right. All those in favor, please signify with saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Do you have anything else before we adjourn, Dr.
Nope.
Menzer? All right, also just want to give a quick plug to the art show this Friday and Saturday. Gabe, do we have times or what?
They're on the website, but Friday's 5 to 7, and Saturday is
10 to 1. 10 to noon.
10 to 1,
10 to
all,
noon.
10 to noon, all here?
All here.
All here. Okay. Anything, any cash or anything need to be brought or anything
I
like
would
that?
bring some cash, because Penn Bistro will be open,
Okay,
but I'd encourage you to come out and check out everything that's going on with the arts in Colonial.
sounds good. All right, thank you. With that being said, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
As moved by Dr. Dorsey, seconded very quickly by Mrs. Smith. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, all those against nay. Motion's carried.
Ted's never gonna say